All right, so good to have you here again today. We're
Thanks, man.
almost at,
Good to be here. Good to be here, brother.
and I think you're getting to a really good point. So today we're gonna do our usual review things, where you're at, how you're doing on things, and then we'll also kind of bring it together because I think you're at a good place where you're touching on all the aspects. The nutrition you've gotten a little improvement on, your general daily schedule, your training you've started to get out for a walk every day. So now we're gonna take a moment and bring it all together. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Awesome. So first, I just want to go over some of the things I noticed in your logs. You're hitting those 4 meals a day, and that's great. You know, yeah, you worked the last couple months to get up to this point, and you made steady progress, and now you're getting a full, not just 3 but 4 meals a day. That's great. That's not a bad thing that you're getting more than what we planned. That means there's more to work with, right?
No doubt.
Your general wake up and wind down habits are looking solid. I know you're still building those routines, but you've got them happening every day on one level or another. And as we get a more solid routine, which is one of the things we'll work on today, I think it'll just get easier to stick with once it's more of a defined plan
No
routine.
doubt. Definitely. Yeah, because I noticed, especially since we put the walk and the stretching and workout in there, the days that I do that, I am able to jump into my day a lot better, a lot more energized, a lot more focused. As opposed to the days I don't, it's like a drag to get myself into what I'm doing. So, yeah, I'm definitely noticing a lot of changes, man, for sure. A lot of benefits.
Excellent. Excellent. And the last thing is the sleep timing and wake up time, right? Whether that's going to bed, waking up, both of those are also solid. So all of your general foundational points are being hit on a regular basis, and that's great.
No doubt. Yeah.
How you look like you're happy about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know me well, so you know it's tough to really see the full picture and progress. And so it's good to kind of look back and see how far I've come in just a couple of months, with something that I've really struggled a lot with. To the point where, now I'm just working on dialing it in for the most part and not so much struggling with making it happen every day. So, yeah, man, I think this is a big win for me, a real big win.
Absolutely, I agree. I know how long you've worked to try and establish something, so to see it happening is great for me as well. You know,
No doubt. No doubt.
and I'm glad to have been a part of it. But let's not get it confused. You have put in more work here than me. I've just given you the suggestions. I didn't do it for you.
No doubt. Yeah.
So that's all you, bro. Now I heard you mention it a minute ago, but are you getting the pull up, push up, and squat in with your walk? Are you
No,
able to do all of them?
usually, if anything, I get like push-ups and then the squats. I haven't done the pull-ups yet, but between those and then spending some time stretching and the walk, especially with the weather lately, that's really helped me out a lot. That cold walk shocker in the morning, especially.
Yep. So you're not able to get them all in, but you are getting out there and going for a walk. Is there a particular one you're not getting to? Are you not getting any of them in?
The push-ups and squats I've been able to do fairly consistently. The pull-up, I haven't really found a good spot yet, and the last couple days have been kind of crappy, so I haven't walked all the way down to the park to use like the monkey bars or anything. But yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna find something.
Absolutely, man.
So,
That's great. If you can't do the pull-ups, we can
mm.
always switch that to the inverted row, which you only need 2 chairs and some kind of stick to set up.
Yeah, because I've done like chair dips and stuff before, and it seems somewhat similar to that. So,
Well, the chair dips will work your triceps
mm.
really more than anything.
Yo,
Whereas the inverted row is going to work your whole back muscles, and if anything, your biceps, not your triceps.
okay, gotcha.
which is why it's important, because your triceps and all those push muscles are worked in the push-up. So I don't want you to get too anterior structured, where all the muscles along your push, your front, are getting overtrained in comparison with your back muscles, which is something that in modern life already has a propensity for happening.
Right.
Because we do so much here, whether it's typing, whether it's carrying stuff, moving stuff around, it's all in the front. We don't do a lot of back stuff, you know?
Oh yeah.
Which is why I want to give you some kind of option and get you doing something for the back. I would rather you leave out the push-up, if anything.
Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate you breaking it down that way, because even when I was in construction doing drywall stuff like that, it's all the time, pulling, lifting buckets, maybe every once in a while holding up a board or something like that. But
Well, yes, but hold on, because I've worked construction as well, as you know, right? Yes, you're lifting buckets, but you lift the bucket, and first of all, let's be honest, you're not lifting you're like swinging down and grabbing it. You know what I mean?
Or two at a time,
Right.
upstairs.
So at that point, you're working just up here. You're not even working your back. You're working, if anything, your upper back.
Right.
Which is actually only going to contribute more to the anterior pull, because it does. But at the same time, once you've picked something up, you're always bringing it to the front. You're not moving those in the back.
Right.
Come on, dude. Like, you're hammering. You're not hammering like this. You're hammering like this,
Exactly.
which is all push.
Yep.
You're holding a board. Yeah, you might pick up a board, but then you're
pushing it
right somewhere here. Even if you're just holding it, you're holding it with all your push muscles. So you're always working those anteriors.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for me when you say it like that. Okay.
And honestly, also, just to give you another layer here, because I feel it ties in so well, it's appropriate. Another advantage to, even if you were still doing the construction work, another advantage to training with proper form is, because when we're throughout our day doing our work, like we just talked about, even though in your head you're going, I'm picking things up, you're not, you're actually picking things up. The more you train proper form, the more you will pick things up proper, because you're teaching your muscle. It's the ingraining of those neural pathways, those muscular patterns, all of this, right? It's all just different forms of stimulation throughout your body, in essence. And so you're kind of ingraining those more in the healthy ways rather than the instinctual bad ways, which, it's a debate. Naturally, would we move with proper form if we didn't have the modern lifestyle? I don't think we can honestly say right now. We're all influenced by it. Who are we judging that against? Historical writings? Not very helpful. You can read somebody's journal today. Doesn't mean I can tell you how your form is. So it's important to learn proper form and such, and then ingrain it as much as possible,
Oh yeah.
Which is why it's helpful, even if you're not reaching new levels of strength, size, something like that. It's helpful just to work on those healthy patterns.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it seems like these kind of movements and proper form, as you say, like it is based off of the most natural way to do that movement, right? So essentially it's really just trying to get back to that natural type movement, right?
Natural movement based on our anatomical structure, yes.
Right.
Not based on convenience.
Right. Which is interesting.
You get my meaning.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. But we don't have that animal instinct of this is how you pray and run and attack, and so. But now I think we're starting to learn what that looks like and what it is. The optimal way to use the body form.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's interesting. If you don't mind, real quick, could you just kind of break down for me the inverted row again, like using the two chairs?
So if you set a chair up on each side, set it long enough so that you can grab it at either shoulder or just slightly wider than shoulder width. And then you're going to set a bar up across those, bridging the gap. And then as you go, that's as far back as I can go in my chair. As you go, You're going to then lay on the ground underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're going to align it so that from about your solar plexus, because I know you know some anatomy because of your own schooling. So, technical terms, your solar plexus to your belly or your nipple line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in there, I would recommend placing the bar
Mm-hmm.
and then grab it. You're going to first retract your scapula and stiffen like a board, right? Meaning, you know how to properly stabilize the core? We can work on that if you'd like. That can be something for us to put in our own personal work.
Okay.
But answer that in a minute. So once you stabilize everything, you retract those scapula, then you're gonna go and just try and do a row where you're gonna pull yourself up using more your back than your arms,
Mm-hmm.
but it's inevitable your arms will come in some. And keeping yourself well stabilized, and you're gonna come up until that chest touches the bar. And you're gonna go back down. And if you find that easy, because I know it's been a while, but I also know you did used to lift and do stuff, so I don't know where you'll be. If it's easy to just do that movement, then focus on explosive contraction and a slow eccentric. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If it's easy. If not, just get that motion done with as good a stabilization as possible.
Okay. Well, and so what do you mean by when you say retract the scapula?
Do you remember my instructions for the box breathing? Bring the shoulders back and down. That's retracting the scapula. You're gonna pull them back and tuck them down so that it's a flat back, so that your back is locked in. Otherwise, because you're gonna be bearing weight, your shoulders are gonna go forward like this, and that's not what you want.
Okay.
At least not right now. Later on, just to be clear, everything has progressions. So it is more effective to stretch the scapula and then retract it through the rowing movement. But I know you don't know. For instance, you just asked, but I know even if you knew what it was, you're not familiar with how to just do that. So we want to get you doing that intentionally on its own first before we put the two movements together.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because I mean, like you said, I'm slowly but surely kind of developing that specific, morning and wind down routine, and so that definitely means, getting my workout kind of consistent every day. Getting all the movements in and all that. So yeah.
Absolutely. And now that leads beautifully to my next question for you. What is your current wake up and wind down routine, and would you like any assistance with adjusting things, figuring out how things are going, where things should go? Because that's something that's always necessary.
I think I'm all right for now. I pretty much just went with what we talked about last time: to wake up, water, reading, and then either writing or just kind of sitting for a minute. And then I turn the audiobook on and I'll do, my stretching. Or, sorry, I do my breathing. Then I turn my audiobook on, do the stretching, and then the workout, then shower, breakfast, teeth, all that stuff. Oh, go ahead.
So I just want to say you might want to switch those. Put the stretching after the workout.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're stretching too much before the workout, stretching in the traditional static sense is relaxing your body. You don't want to relax the body and then shock it into action. You want to work into the action, right? Through maybe at the most dynamic stretching,
Okay.
which is not flinging things around and jamming your leg up as hard as you can in a leg swing and stuff. It's slow controlled, for instance, leg swings. But getting them used to moving, then train, then do your static stretching to help cool your body down and get all those muscles that you just worked stretched back out and good.
Appreciate you breaking that down because I don't know, I guess I just assumed or heard that, you stretch before the workout to like get your muscles ready so you don't tear or injure yourself.
You should stretch before and after, but the type of stretching done before optimally is, especially if it's a long stretching session, right? If you're doing more than like 5 minutes, then you shouldn't be doing static stretching right before a good workout.
Right.
You should be doing some more dynamic work.
Gotcha.
And again, we'll get more specific on exact training programs when you're more comfortable with all of this general stuff, such as even next session, if you're feeling good about all of this next session.
Okay, I got you. No, that's perfect because that helps me add another thing to my morning routine and take off like three others. So yeah, no, that's fine.
You say after the workout you eat or you do your hygiene stuff?
I do my shower and then I usually clean up a little bit and kind of move around and then I'll grab something to eat. And that depends because sometimes I eat before our call and sometimes I don't eat until after. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the last thing that I do really.
Okay. And now what about your wind down? What's that looking like right now?
So basically, I just kind of shut everything down, and then I'll go over and sit on my bed and do the writing and stuff for the day. Check off my list. That's usually when I shoot my note to you. Just let you know when I got done for the day, and then I'll write a little page in my journal and 5 minutes of breathing, and then audiobook on, and I'll just kind of sit and chill for a little while, relax, do like I think it's called progressive relaxation exercises, just while I'm kind of sitting there chilling, and then I'll crash out. Or some nights instead of using the audiobook, I'll sit and I'll just kind of meditate for a while, process through the day, and I'll go out. So I've been trying to do that every night, but sometimes I'm just not feeling it until I put the audiobook on.
All right, so it sounds like for now, you're satisfied with most of where you have things. I can let you figure all that out. Other than the stretching and workout, that's the only thing I really felt I needed to say. The rest is preference. But now I have on record what you're doing at this date so that in the future, with things adjusting, we can see, because sometimes you'll adjust and you'll realize, oh, that was a mistake. So you want to have something to fall back on. So now we have that on record. So you can. So based on the notes you sent me here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing these, I don't know, aren't quite as accurate because of what you just said, but it looked like, because I know you didn't write it on every day, but 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8 p.m. are your most usual times to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend trying to lock those times in if that's most naturally where you just seem to eat. Lock
Okay.
those in as like those are your eating times.
Okay.
See how that works. And by that I mean put effort into eating at those times for say a week till our next session, and then we'll evaluate how that went, or if certain meals seem like they need to be spaced out more, things of this nature.
Okay.
Because the more consistent you can be with things like that, the better. Your body knows when it's getting energy, it can adjust properly and get as efficient as possible for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've definitely already started to notice some adjustment for sure. Going from one meal to three.
And it looked like you were drinking coffee at night.
Yeah, every once in a while I have it, man.
Does
I
that
try
keep you
not to.
up?
Huh? Oh no,
Doesn't that keep you? No?
not at all. I try not to go past like the 8 p.m. mark, but oh yeah, I could drink a cup at like 9:50 and then go to bed at 10.
And you don't feel like that interferes with your sleep quality even?
I don't know. I can't really say that I've done it too much other than that time, and I still think that was a good 4 hours or so before I went to bed. So not really. I mean,
Caffeine typically has a half-life of 6 hours.
okay. So yeah, it could have definitely messed with my beginnings of my sleep a little bit. But I will say that is one change that I've kind of started making is I've been trying to, instead of working right up until I'm ready to knock off and wind down for bed, I've been trying to wrap everything up before that, and just kind of have some time to watch a show or go hang out with Amy or something like that. And I find that I don't wake up as like, "Oh, I gotta go do this and this and this and this," because I'm able to kind of like sit there for a while and really like, I guess, process. Sometimes stuff comes up like, oh shit, I gotta do that real quick, or I gotta do that first thing in the morning. But for the most part, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm done. I've accomplished. Now I can sit back and hang out, and so that kind of adds a little bit of comfort, I guess, or Not sure how I want to say it. I guess peace. You know.
The last real question I have for you today is about your preferred meditation and breathworks this far. I know you've worked with a number of them. Is there any you prefer that you've really found helpful?
Yeah, I really like box breathing. And then lately, since we talked about, I don't remember if you put a name to it or not, but basically just the controlled nose breathing, like to kind of
Functional breathing.
progressively. What's that?
Functional breathing.
Functional breathing. That's what it was. Yeah. And so I've been doing that quite a bit lately and trying to catch myself and kind of do it in motion and not just while I'm sitting there being conscious of it. Yeah, those two. And then for meditations, I like the body scan one that you posted about on the blog. And then I just kind of have a few, personal routines that I've made up that work pretty well for me, visualization, and then, just like breathing focused. The flame meditation, I like to do that one a lot, kind of my own modified version of it. So,
okay. All right. If you ever want to try and do a guided body scan meditation sometime, because there was things you took away from our guided box breathing session, which we can also do again if you'd like. So let me know. We could schedule 30-minute guided breathwork and meditation sessions.
okay.
It's something I'd like to offer, and I'd be happy to work on that with you.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind going through the body scan for sure. I really like how you did the box breathing, and so let's try it out.
Okay. Do you want to do that this coming week, or do you want to wait a little while?
It's up to you, man. Whatever works.
For your goals, based on everything we've talked about this far, we're locking in the feeding times is what we're trying to do next.
Yep.
And you're going to try and get more with the back workouts or back exercise. And now we're going to do a guided session.
Yes, sir.
Meditation session.
All right.
This is where I would like to open it up for any questions, concerns, any obstacles you've encountered that you would like advice on, anything like that.
We've already kind of talked about, some of my issues with scheduling and routine. And so, I've really been kind of dedicated to just mapping it all out and having it here in front of me and then kind of tacked up in key spots so I could see it. Really just kind of shortcutting myself, where I know I have problem areas, keeping water right next to me when I sleep so I'm not urged to go up and get coffee and, just kind of breaking some of those routines and stuff. So yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk about that if you want, because that is really my main struggle right now is just sticking to those set routines.
Okay. What in particular? How are you attempting to schedule this? Are you still trying to use a box or a block scheduling method?
Yeah, I'm using the block method. It seems to be working good for both business and personal stuff.
So how is that looking for you? Could you shoot me a picture or?
Yeah, I can send you a picture.
Okay, so the first thing I would ask is this layout working for you in general? The organization, the order of things of that nature.
The layout does. I'm glad I gave myself some time to work with this because that's why I had to rewrite it because I missed stuff. I didn't get stuff right. I wanted to kind of reform kind of my daily list. And like you see on the first one, I have theme or goal of the day. And I kind of got off track with that and put the wrong thing for a bunch of stuff. So yeah, format's working good. I just got to kind of dial in the content and where I'm putting everything and all that stuff. Make sure I'm not missing anything.
Absolutely.
I missed a lot with the first one too. So
I would say two things. First of all, if you're going to do it as meticulously as it looks like, especially the rewrite is going, digitize it so that you don't have to rewrite this every single time you fill out all these boxes and things like that. You can just print another copy. Now, I'm like you. I like paper as well, so nothing wrong with doing it once on paper to make sure, because it's also, I think it's easier to adjust on paper. I know you can easily delete stuff on a screen and this and that, but I can't see it, right? I need to put arrows to show what's shifting where and keep it all visual. I can't really do that on
like my paper, but
So
get that.
I'm all for you doing this like this, but I'm just saying once you're like, this is what I'm gonna be with for at least a little while, you know, more than one row of filling things out, you're gonna want to digitize it then, trust me. I went years not doing it, and I got some cramps on my hand from that.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'm definitely old school in that respect. But once I get the general layout of it right, I can, put it on.
Yep. The next thing I would say is for it to be a proper block schedule, don't forget your time frames.
Okay.
So in the first one, I know you're not even there yet, but you had wake up at 8 a.m.,
Mhm.
right? That was the only mention of a time on that entire schedule. Schedule isn't a schedule if it only has the things on it. It needs times as well. Because if it's not, then it's really just a plan. It's not a schedule. A schedule has times on it. Oh, I'm doing this from this time to that time and things of that nature. Otherwise, it's just a plan, a step by step guide, if you will.
Right.
Not schedule. Schedule has times.
No
So you
doubt.
can slip in appointments and things of that nature. And that's the other thing I would say, again, from personal experience, you need free blocks.
Mhm.
Appointments come up, especially for yourself, even more than me. You have a daughter. She's
Right.
going to need appointments. She might have something going on with school. She might have friends to hang out with, and you got to like help her out here and there. You know, I don't know. There's all kinds of things, but you got to give yourself a block. I would argue at least every other day, a block of free.
No doubt. Okay.
Aside from that, I don't really have a lot else to say in the way of the rewrite because you've only got the beginning going.
Mhm.
And I would also recommend you play around with specificity, meaning things like it needs to be more general in your blocks. Things and that can really be followed through with all these like talk with Logan content focus, right?
Mhm.
Um, to keep the block, number one, to keep it consistent across every day, and two, so that as life as it is fluctuates and changes and shifts, you're still able to plug mostly the same things in all the time. So I would adjust it for things like business conversations or business meetings is the me and you thing right here. You can put focuses if you still want to, but at the same time, that'll dictate itself what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
There's a reason I have our focuses on its own separate planner and not on like my day to day schedule
Mhm.
because my day to day schedule needs to be more general. This planner on my whiteboard, that's why it's on a whiteboard. Whiteboard's easy to erase and shift around and this and that. So things like that, much like the social learning there and class and all that, learning block, you know, or education block, whatever you feel most comfortable using. The self-care, that's a great label for most of this, you know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, to really get the greatest benefits of a block schedule, which is in theory and anyways, to make it in the long run instinctual that like your body starts to crave doing these in body physiology mind whatever starts to crave doing things at certain times. You want to keep things at the same time as many days of the week as you can, such as learning. You have learning in two different points in your schedule throughout this week. If you can get them all on the same time, that's optimum. That's why, for instance, when we first started meeting, I said, what time of day? We're going to keep it at that time of day every day. Because now, even if we're not physically face to face meeting, you shoot me a message. I shoot you a message around this time. Even if we, like yesterday, we didn't even officially meet, we still were shooting each other messages starting at this time.
No
In
doubt.
part because we've been shooting each other messages or talking face to face every single day now for months.
No doubt.
So you want to
Okay.
keep things same time every day if possible. And it looks like that is possible. You'll just have to go into this old schedule and see what it means you need to switch around, what days, you know,
Mhm.
and what time of days are best across all days for what things.
Okay. Yeah, this definitely helped me get a better idea of exactly what I had going on, that needs to be tracked and put on a calendar. So yeah, I'm pretty confident about this next one. I feel like it'll be pretty helpful for me.
I think so, man. I mean, you're already come this far and you've been using this first one. you know, again, everything is just going to progress. It's just going to get better, easier, you know, as you learn for yourself. All these suggestions are things based on my experience, things I've heard from other people, seen, you know. So just because they worked for me or they worked for somebody else doesn't mean they will for you. I'm sure there'll be at least one thing throughout this whole scheduling progression of yours journey that will be unique to you, you know. It'll be your own thing that you didn't hear from somebody else. It just happened because that's what works for you and it slipped in there. It happens.
No. Yeah, no
Uh,
doubt.
but yeah, that's pretty much all I would recommend there is start looking at this and one generalizing the blocks a little more so that you can adjust within, right? To give you an example from mine, I have my wake up block, which is basically your morning routine block. I have two different learning blocks because, like I told you before, I just like to learn on my own. So I have what I'm now calling, and again, I change the names of the my own blocks to try and forever trying to polish them for my own preferences. Um, so I have two study blocks. I have the storytelling studies, and I have the professional studies. So there's that. You know, I have my writing block. I actually have two of those, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. You know, so yeah, just to give you some examples of how I've generalized in that way, I can write what I want during my writing block. During my professional, yeah, it directs me a little bit, but it still leaves open like, well, what kind of professional things do I need to study right now? At least it just directs me towards, you know, I got to be studying something for business every day, whether that be finance, whether that be business strategy, branding, marketing, whatever, you know, writing, that's its own thing because that means I can write personal stories, I can write on the blog, I can touch up our business stuff, I can, you know, write fantasy, I can write whatever I need to write. And also, all of my blocks still leave a couple hours a day, meaning two or three, of fluctuation, you know? That way, one, there's just some downtime, hopefully, at least every few days. And two, it allows me to have some wiggle room in case, you know, I don't want to just cut myself off if I'm on the groove of something and then be like, oh, I was really feeling it. And tomorrow I'm probably not going to feel it. But it was time to be done. So I had to be done. Like I can run over a little if I'm feeling something on one day and it doesn't interfere with everything and fuck everything up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be a big thing for me is just getting times on there, getting everything timed out and then getting the rest of the stuff on this new schedule. So
And that's the other thing when you're putting times, a lot of those hours are in betweens, right? It's not like a 3 hour block at the end of the day where there's nothing to do. I mean, I have about an hour,
right.
just like I do in the beginning of the day, an hour or two, you know?
Hmm.
But then the other hour or two is sprinkled throughout my day to give some buffer time between things. That way, like I said, with the whole wake up and enter your wake up routine, you're not just slamming yourself from one thing to the other in your schedule
Right.
either.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely important to know. And I kind of like had the idea in my head as I was writing this out, like, okay, I need to take like, 15 minutes out, 15 minutes in for each one. But yeah, I definitely see that some of these, are going to take a little more time in between or less time or, it'll flow more
Yep.
naturally. So, okay.
And you know, you can approach the putting the time down in one of two ways. You can either just put the start time on each thing, which then implies a end time to the times before, or
Right.
you can put a hard beginning and end time so that you have even more direction. It's kind of what works best for you.
Gotcha. All right.
Because, like, for me, I have to have an end time too, even though sometimes I go over on it. Because if there isn't one at all, I'll just keep working until I don't even realize the next block has started. I need something telling me there is a stop.
Yeah, I get you. I either jump around too much or not enough. So I understand that.
Just experiment and see what works for you, man.
Okay. No doubt, man.
All right, I think that's about everything though, unless you have anything else you'd like to discuss, any more help with the scheduling.
No, I think that's it, man. That's good. That's been really helpful. I appreciate the direction on this all the way, pretty much, because I'm starting from scratch here. So
Absolutely, man. As always, I'm happy to be of assistance.